I'm the underdog with the heroic heart. I'm Eric Jones Jr. I have to keep pushing for my kids. If I give up, what's that leave them with? Nothing. I have to understand that it's bigger than me. That it's not about me when I wake up and go to work. It's not about me when I'm reading to educate myself. It's not about me when I'm practicing my speeches. It's not about me. It's about my family.
Hey, you're now tuned in to Underdog Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., the underdog with a heroic heart, and I have conversations with successful underdogs. And today I have Kellina, Powell. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me today.
No problem. Thank you for being on the show. And before we get into our conversation, today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Christian Dewan, Positive Energy Through Your Clothes. We have things for babies, toddlers, youth, moms, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma. Everybody can get a shirt, a hoodie. If you use the promo code Underdog Talk, and Underdog is spelled UNDERDAWG Talk, and you will get 15% off. And the website is christiandewan.com. So we're gonna get into our conversation today. I think you're the first person that I've interviewed. I've been on other people that have somewhat of a physical disability as well as myself. So I'm honored to have you on because you kind of can feel and go through things that I've went through, and it's cool to have someone that can relate. So let's get into your story. How did it start? Your disability, like what was going on in life that you can remember?
Okay. I would say that my life is very interesting. I actually became deaf at the age of 4 due to an infection. Some people are like, what? Yeah, that's how it happened. Unfortunately, I had an ear drop, and when I was 4 years old, my mom brought her to the daycare for them to follow instruction. However, the daycare did not follow the instruction. And that same day, I became deaf. When I got home, that's when I lost my hearing. And my mom was calling me. The TV was loud. I didn't realize the TV was loud. And she tapped my shoulder. I jumped. When I say I jump, I literally jump. And my mom said something to me, and I looked at her like dead in the face, and I said, "Mom, I cannot hear you." And she looked at me and she said something. I couldn't hear her, and she said, "Okay, this is not a joke." And she called my grandma. Luckily, thankfully, my grandma was a nurse at the time. My grandma rushed from the hospital to do some assessments with me. I was kind of confused what was happening, and so my grandma said, "Okay, something's wrong." She called my family doctor. They said, "Oh, get over here by tomorrow so we can help you." And my doctor said, "I'm so sorry, it's too late. Kellina is officially deaf." And that's how I became deaf. And yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That sucks that happened. From someone not doing what they were supposed to do, and then that's unfortunate that like one mistake like changed the entirety of your life at 4 years old. So I know that had to be like a whole different ball game because I'm thinking because I'm a preschool teacher, so I have 4 year olds. So just thinking of those 4 year olds, they're just playing, living life, and then boom, something dramatic happens to you. Wow. So for me with mine, if this is your first time listening, I was born with my disability, which is called radiational club hands. So it was something I was born with. So it was a challenge I had to face from the get go of life. So year 4, this happens. What is life like now for you? What happens? I know you probably had to go to doctors, all different kinds of stuff. So what happens after they tell you, hey, tell your mom she's deaf, she can't hear?
Well, that was a big challenge for my mom, I would say, because she was a young mom. And so I guess there was no education about the deaf community. And but thank God, actually, my mom was in college at the time, so she was able to get some resources from college, and my grandma was able to get a lot of information because she's a nurse. So she was able to get a lot of information on the audiologist and the hospital that she was working at. So they helped a lot, and I actually finally found my own audiologist like around my area that could help me navigate the hearing world. So my audiologist recommended me to go to both hearing school and a deaf school. So one in the morning, one in the afternoon, just to help me communicate and how to verbally communicate. I know a lot of times with people who are deaf, they don't communicate verbally. They communicate with sign language or they're mute, so they don't know how to interact with the hearing community. So I was able to, get the experience to explore two different community and how to communicate in two different community, which is kind of crazy because I felt like my personality kind of chipped in a way where I have to, feel uncomfortable going to the hand community to actually get myself out there, I would say, versus the deaf school. And unfortunately, I stopped going to the deaf school from grade two or grade three, and I stopped learning sign language because when I went to the hearing school, no one really taught me signing at all, and I didn't have any friends that would look like me in the hearing community, and it was very frustrating because I didn't know how can I even get around in school, right? And because you're in school full time, like 8 hours basically, and it just kind of hard. And then I just kept going, and I bullied a lot in the hand school. Um, but thankfully I had two great friends. They protected me, and they literally fought the bully back, and they told me to, no, Kalina, you need to fight back. And I was like, oh my god, no, I don't want to get in trouble, but sometimes it's what you have to do. And when I was younger, that's what I had to do. Like, literally had to bully some bullies back, but not in a good way. I'm like, oopsie. Um, but I'm grateful for the bullies because they really taught me how to build my confidence and really how to stand up for myself, no matter what the outcome is. Because sometimes there's days where I lie to my family, say I'm sick, I don't want to go to school because I didn't want to go to school, and it was really hard. I just really didn't think I would come this far in my life, right? Because if it wasn't for these bullies and my friends who taught me how to stand up for myself, I wouldn't be here right now.
Oh, I definitely understand what you're saying, because around when I was 2 or 3, I had to go to like physical therapy. It was kind of like school, but it was like for them to see if I could go to regular school. So it was fortunate because I was able, like, I lived in a project, so the old heads there, they were teaching, the little young kids us how to shoot dice. So when you shoot dice, it's hand mobility. So when I went to the school, they were like, okay, yeah, he don't need to, be here. And it was like, for me, like I went home crying the day they told me I couldn't come back because I didn't understand. I thought it was, I was just going to school. So when I went to actual school, I definitely understand what you're saying about the bullies. Like I definitely had to fight off some bullies. Like I had to stand up to them. Like people would try to joke on me, and I'm like, okay, all you can talk about is my arms. Let's see how it goes if you can't talk about that. So definitely bullies, like at the time, bullies sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to go through that. I didn't want to go to school. I tried to attempt to commit suicide twice. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. But when you look at it in the long run, those bullies helped, each of us to stand up for ourselves. So in life, bully might not be a person. It might be something that, stopping you or telling you you can't do something. You got to stand up to it. So if you don't stand up to that bully, we both might not be here having this conversation because life could have went a different way.
Right.
And I'm thankful that you had those friends, and I had friends too that would stand up for me, or fight off the bully, like let them know, like, hey, you're not gonna mess with that person. So shout out to the friends in the world that help people that have some type of disability or look different or whatever the case may be, because without you guys, we not be where we're at. So you getting bullied, you're going into school. So were you into like as kids, we're in the sports. Were you in the sports? What were you into as a kid? Or was it that your hearing stopped you from being what you wanted to be in?
I had doubt. I didn't say it fully stopped me. I did have doubt. Um, it was very hard because when I got into high school, it got better in a way where students were more aware of that I had a disability. So it kind of helped to calm the environment a little bit more versus the elementary school, middle school, because kids don't know, right? And they're like, "Oh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry," right? And then
Yeah,
when you get into high school, that's when people are more aware and they're like, "Okay, like yeah, like she deaf, she like, it doesn't mean she's different." So because of the bully, I'm very outspoken. So so sometimes there's people will look at my ears and I'm like, "Are you looking at something?" And I would catch them on off guard, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Kalida. I'm just and because at the time my hearing aid was actually colored, so sometimes I would have like sparkles hearing aids, like the ear mold would be sparkles, or it'll be white or pink. So a lot of time, especially now, I have the pink hearing aid. It's very noticeable, like you can see it, and like moving forward during high school, I think I had like a teacher, and he thought I don't know what he thought was in my ear. I think he thought it was like in headphones or something. Oh my god! And I was like, "What? No, it's like a hearing aid." And he looked at me like I'm stupid or something. And I was like, "Okay." So I had to go tell my disability counselor in high school, like, "Hey, like, you need to talk to the teacher. Like, he thinks I'm wearing headphones in class." And then she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I don't know. This is your." I'm like, "I don't know. This is your school. This is where you teach." And it was just very frustrated in a way because I was just like, "Hey, I'm just coming to learn. I'm not, like I understand it's high school. We do crazy, stupid things sometimes, but I mean, you can't always just pick on one kid because they have a disability." And I felt like he was just picking on me consistent, and he's kind of disrespectful. But again, that I didn't stop me from, moving forward in high school. And I would thank goodness for that teacher because I was able to speak up a lot more than I used to, especially when it comes to teachers. Because I'm so scared of talking to teachers in high school because I didn't want them to fail me. I think I had that image like, oh my god, if I speak up, I'm gonna fail, or they're gonna. I don't know. I just had that mindset when I was in high school, but I guess we all had, right? And um, I had a guidance counselor who basically didn't put my grades in at all for post secondary. She thought I was not capable of going post secondary. And I received a phone call from all the schools I applied to, and they said your grades are not in. I was very devastated because I was like, I worked so hard to get here for my guidance counselor not to put my grade in. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I went to the school the next day and I went off. I didn't mean to go off in a rude way. I just like, where the heck is my grades and everything. She's like, oh, her excuse was so stupid. Like I forgot you had two last names. So I have a last name that's hyphenated, but really like in Canada they use one last name in general. And yeah, she didn't believe in me. She literally did not put my grade in, and I was so sad because I thought that I couldn't able to do it. So she kind of gave me that mind that like I should listen to her, like saying I can't do it. And that was the very hardest thing I ever done in my life, was to actually break that mindset and literally tell myself no, no, like no, I'm not letting just one teacher who does not impact my life, such as like your mom, your dad, or those are the more important people that impact your life. And I realized that one person who's the guidance counselor that I'm not gonna see for the rest of my life is not really helping me move forward in life. And that was something I really definitely like had to overcome because she was looking at me as a disability person, which is very sad.
mm, definitely. I definitely understand where you're coming from now. Me in school, I was a different person. You sounded like you wanted to go to school, you got good grades, you did what you're supposed to do. I was an outspoken person too. I still am, but I was a jokester. I was the class clown. Like I didn't like school. The irony of it, I'm a teacher now. That's just funny to me. But yeah, I didn't like school. Like So I got my mom. It's funny because my birthday was last Saturday, so she just sent some. Thank you. She sent some birthday, some gifts or whatever, little stuff. But she sent some of my old report cards, and I'm reading what the behavior part says, and I'm cracking up because I'm still that same kind of person, like goofy, outspoken. He has potential to do this, potential to do that. And so it's funny when I go back. But school, I don't think I had like hard time. I mean, I had hard times with teachers, but that was because I had a smart mouth. And so I don't necessarily remember any like teachers I felt like they were against me because of my disability. I think it was just because of who I was. But like playing for me, basketball was my thing. So I was up against, kids with normal arms. They got the practice, all that. And nobody really put any energy into helping me with basketball. Like I taught myself, I played every day, I put in the work when it came to that. So I was kind of at a disadvantage. I think I didn't take school serious enough to actually, do that. So you was like, hold on, you didn't put my grades in. I wish somebody wouldn't have put my grades in. I'd have been a happy, I'd have been a happy camper. Oh, I'd have been like, Mom, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm doing the work. I don't see the grades. I don't know what's going on. Because yeah, I got some bad grades. But that's good. I love what you said. You said you didn't let that one person stop you. And sometimes in life is that one person or that people that'll say because someone has a disability we can't do something. Like that disability is something we know is there, so we know what we're not capable of doing, but we also know what we're capable of doing, because that's one thing. That's just like somebody that might have a bad knee. Okay, you might not be able to run, but you can do other things. And I never understood why people looked at people with our brain didn't work. Like we were like just because we look different or just because you maybe couldn't hear, like you weren't smart. It's like I don't understand that. Like that has nothing to do with me learning. That has nothing to do with me as a person. I'm the same person as you. We're both equal, but I just have to do it a little different. I never understood that. Um, did you ever come to that point to understand, like, as someone with that, like, why do people treat us different? Like, I mean, I know we look different, but like, have you ever had that moment where you like, why are people like this?
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, definitely. Especially like when you're applying for jobs. It's just like, why are we being overlooked just because we have a disability? Like even one time I got a job at a grocery store, and my hair was in a big puffy ponytail at the time. No, a big puffy curly hair, sorry. And my boss, like the supervisor, she came up to me and she said that. She said, "Oh, I didn't know you're deaf." And I said, "Why does that matter? I'm confused." And it just like, and in my head I thought like, why is it that every time I go to an environment there's not that one disability person working? And I'm like, it's so sad that they always, especially jobs in general, like it's just really sad. And now they're trying to make it more accessible for people who have a disability, trying to encourage them to work, but it just every time they do come for an interview, they don't get called because they're getting overlooked. And I'm just like, why do every disability person have to have a hard time finding jobs? Like they did not, we never asked to live like this. Like we never did. Like we were just given this gift from God. Who knows what whatsoever. But and I always thought to myself like, why is it that we disability community have to work 10 times harder than anybody else? We're exhausted. We're tired. There's times where we don't want to go outside, right? Especially COVID too. Like COVID makes it really harder for all of us to really get ourselves and managing our schedule because we needed a job. There's people that would lay off from their original job where they have to find an uncomfortable job to make an end meet. So it's it's very sad, but like the way I see it, just so many lack of education because when we go to school, they don't teach us about how to talk to someone who have a disability. They never teach us that. So there's pros and cons, I would say. I'm being more mind open now as I used to. Before I was just like, okay, well, how come you're not educated on this? But then I have to take a step back and realize it's because when we went to school and they never taught us how to be accessible for people who have disability? How do we work with people who have disability? So every day I always ask myself, when is this going to change?
Hmm. Man, you were like right on point, and especially when you said grocery store. That's like the job that they give people with disability. Oh, you can work in the grocery store. Okay, that's cool, but that ain't paying nobody bills. That ain't doing nothing. That just get me out the house to speak to people. Like I think that's why even as a kid, I was like, man, I don't think I'm gonna be working at somebody's 9 to 5. Like I know you have to get a job, but I always knew I'd be doing something else. And I didn't know until, I got older what exactly that was. But yeah, it's like, why do I get overlooked because I look different? I got more heart. I'm going to put in, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be work harder than anybody else because I have to if I'm going to, meet the quota or whatever the case may be. But it's like, oh, because he looks different, we're not going to hire him. And that's crazy because for me, I don't know if you got Social Security, like, help. They told me I couldn't get it because I actually work jobs. Like I work too many hours. And it's like, so as a person with a disability, I'm supposed to only work so many hours and y'all so much, like we're supposed to live off this fixed income. No, I want to be like everybody else. I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want to build generational wealth. I want to create all these different things for my family. But because you think I'm incapable of doing it, I'm not supposed to. No. So like you said, we're exhausted. Like I don't think people realize, some people that have it, like myself, I have like nerve issues in like my neck and my shoulder. And every day I go to work, I'm like somewhat in pain, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows what it's like to be on our side. And like you said, I never really thought about that. But being in school, they don't teach you how to associate that. Oh, that's the special kids or whatever the case may be. Treat them, don't be mean to them. But it's like they don't really sit down and explain, like there's other people in the world that are born that are going to look different than you. They're going to, be in class with you, and they might do something, or they might be able to play. Like in my class, I have an autistic kid. He gets to be on the tablet or play when everybody else is kind of doing work because he's not one. He can write, but he's not going to sit there and write. He can read. He, like, if I'm asking him questions, he can do that. So he's more of a verbal. So when they're doing something else, he might be able to do something, but I can't, it's hard to explain to them, but I think they're kind of understanding because we don't treat them no different. But it's like, we need to have classes like that to help other kids understand how to treat, so you don't get bullied, because I'm sure anybody with a disability has been bullied, and some people don't make it. Some people actually off themselves, or they might be a person where they have great potential, but they didn't live up to their potential because they need help. I did a video about friends that can help, but it can hurt. And it's because like my friends would always help me, but they would help me before I did something. So now as I got older and life then hit me and I'm got a divorce and I'm by myself, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm used to getting this help. Now I gotta figure it out on my own. So people don't understand like the life of a person with a disability. So for you, how old are you? Because I know you're younger than me.
Yes, I am. I'm a little baby. People always call me baby Callie. I'm like, okay. I am only 24 years old.
So yeah, 24. So you just finished up college not too long ago. How for you, we just having a conversation between us now. How has dating been for you? Like having your situation, not being, having the hearing aids and different things. How has dating been for you?
Dating life?
Yeah, like how from your perspective is dating life, and just from not having being deaf, having hearing aids, people look at you different. Is it easy today? Is it hard today? How's that work for you?
Oh my goodness. I love this question. I'll tell you that because it's very interesting. I would say I wouldn't say bad experience or negative experience. I have few, maybe 10% ignorant guys in my life that I actually went on a date with. Um, I would say, and then the other half, it's 80%. It's really good. I know a lot of guys. They never disrespected me in a way. They were just being upfront, and a lot of time I noticed like they try to do too much instead of asking me like, hey, like. um they always like take me to a restaurant. I hate going to a restaurant because it's too loud for me to hear, and it's so loud. Like I hate restaurants. So I know a lot of guys will take me a date to a restaurant. And I think, oh, I don't want to go to a restaurant. And they're like, what do you mean? Like every girl likes to get spoiled by eating food, and I said, well, that's not me. But I didn't tell them that I was deaf until like the date, and I avoid going to a lot of restaurants because it's too crowded, too loud, and I don't hear very well, especially when it's a very loud environment, especially at a restaurant, especially when they have a bar beside the dining hall, and so it's very like I can't hear you. So and it's very difficult because I'm not before when I started like getting my stuff out there, I was not comfortable telling people that hey like I am deaf, can you speak up louder, or hey like let's go somewhere else because I may not hear you very well because of the environment. I was not comfortable doing that at all. But I would say few dates that was very ignorant. I decided to be honest with myself and just get myself out there and tell people like, hey, like I'm deaf, this is what it is. I can't do restaurant. And a lot of surprisingly I get a lot of like great guys that was very accommodating, and they were like, "Okay, no problem. Let's go for a walk instead, or let's go to the beach, or and they're really nice, and they ask me a lot of like uncomfortable questions. They just always curious to know like how did it work, and they and every single one of the guys I go on a date with, they never met a deaf girl before that has so much confidence, like the way I do, and they have so much respect for me because I am very outspoken and I'm very um I'm very funny, like in a way. Like I can make you laugh, but we can have a serious conversation, but we can also have a funny conversation. And a lot of them, did not want to continue to date with me because they felt like they couldn't handle a disability person, which is unfortunate because again, it's not their fault, right? They just never came across these type of exposure. They never been there. So, and again, it's lack of education, and yeah, it's frustrating at time. I know for us, especially, like, especially, we want to be appreciated, we want to be loved, we want to get ourselves out there, right? But at the same time, I always tell people there's always going to be that one person for you. You cannot always say because of that one bad experience, date experience, there's not going to be better one that's coming on the way. Sometimes, like I always tell people, sometimes you have to go through the worst dating experience to find your pen charming or the wife you want to have. Sometimes you have to go through these serious, crazy date to date to find that one person because you also learn about yourself and you also learn about how to accommodate in yourself, right? And you learn about different body language. You learn about different love language that you want to achieve by someone. So that was definitely my dating experience.
That's what's up. I like it. It's different because you have to like kind of like you said, you have to kind of be accommodated with the um with the environment, with the hearing part. So people have to understand. And I would say for me, like it's crazy because I'm always been a ladies man. I'm a charmer. Like that's just naturally who I am. And so like dating before, because I've been married. So before marriage, I wasn't really settling down. So sometimes like I would wear a jacket and it'd be like, okay, I'm cool because they really couldn't tell. But then when they could tell, it's like they treated me different. It's like I'm the same person that has you laughing, smiling, all that. But but now like women, they're older, they're like, okay, I don't really care about that as long as you're a good person. And it's kind of weird to me a little bit sometimes because like people are more accepting and it's like, oh, okay, I'm cool. Like before, it's like people aren't so accepting and it's like you don't really know what you're gonna get. But like you said, there's a person for everybody. Obviously, I thought I was married, so I've been in that situation where I've thought I've had that person, but then like you said, you take that lesson from whatever relationship it is and you learn from it. And I think for me, I had to just be comfortable in my skin and comfortable who I was to actually like date and find the right person. Like, cause sometimes you could date and you don't find really the right person because you're not being yourself. But when you're yourself, like you said, I'm funny, I'm outspoken, but I'm chill. I can be chill too, but I'm really just a fun person. Like I like to have fun no matter wherever we're going. So once I learned just to be myself, you attract those people that want to be in your life rather than you just attracting people because, they think they want to be in your life. So, and dating is definitely different now because I'm recently divorced. So I started I got a divorce right before COVID, I think. So then you had COVID, and then it's after COVID, and it's like I don't know how to be out here because I've been with the same person for so many years, and then you got this disease, not disease, but this illness out here, and people dying. It's like, should I just stay in the house? I don't know what to do. So dating for me is definitely after marriage has been different than it was before marriage, and plus I was younger then. So this is May, Mental Health Awareness Month. So for you, how would you say your mental health has been throughout having your disability? You kind of explained it as a kid, not wanting to go to school, being bullied, kind of self-doubt, and then when you talk about when the turning point you kind of understood what mental health was to where you kind of it didn't affect you so much as it did before with having a disability.
My mental health was up and down. I would say it was not always easy. People always ask me like, Kellina, how do you do it? I said honestly, it takes time. It takes years. It really does take me years to get to where I need to be in life. I realized that I had to change my circle, right? I had to change my friends. I had to change my mindset, what I was feeding to myself, in terms of how can I be more positive what comes to such a scenario. How can I learn from the negative thoughts I'm thinking, and how can I shift it to a positive instead of saying, why is this happening to me every day? Like every day, I'm always like, oh my God, I don't want to go out in the community because no one understands. And it's frustrating, especially like with COVID and everything. It just sucks because I'm a lip reader, and I feel like COVID really did impact my mental health a lot because I never went outside, to be honest with you. And I know a lot of people are like, what? And I said, no. I never did. I only literally went outside to go to work. And thank God my work is very acceptable to me. And they always find ways to accommodate me in any possible way. So I give props to both of my workplace for doing that. And I literally just go outside and for a walk and I come home. And because I'm a lip reader, so a lot of time with the mask covering your mouth, I cannot hear a full sentence what you're saying, and so it's very hard for me to get like they. I remember one time I went to the grocery store and I needed. So I was asking to cut. I think it was. I don't know who. I asked someone for like the direction of the where the food was, and my goodness, when I told everybody, I couldn't even hear the birthday, and I was like, oh, I only heard aisle three, and that was it. I was like, three? Aisle three, you mean? Like, I nodded that yes, like, yes. And I'm like, okay, okay. Like, it was just so frustrating because I was just like, oh my God, COVID needs to hurry up and finish because I can't communicate. And so that's impacted me really a lot with my mental health because I'm a person who likes to go outside, who loves to be on road. I will always go out with my friends. But then since COVID came and I was not like out there anymore, and then my friends were like, "You okay? Like you should come over." And I said, "No, I don't want to." I was just yeah. So my mental health did change, I would say. But the only thing I can say is, if you are someone who is struggling and you really want to get yourself out there, I would say really change the habit of what you're doing in your daily life habit. Because that really does change your mindset a lot. For example, waking up in the morning, you do meditation, you read a positive book for 10 minutes of your day. Even if you have a schedule, have a clear schedule what you're going to do for today instead of having a messy schedule. And so that is something that I had to learn with my mental health.
Mm. When we were talking before, the other day, and you said that about COVID with the mask, like I don't think people, because it's not, it's like you don't see someone that's deaf every day. You don't see, so when you said that, it's like, wow, people didn't really understand how that really affected you. Because if you read lips and everybody has a mask, what's the point of going outside? You can't talk to nobody, like, because everyone has a mask on. So I know that had to be difficult because it's like, what? I'm not going out there. Ain't no point. Like if you're at the grocery store, and luckily you could understand what they were saying, but yeah, that's crazy, and that sucks that happens, and that sucks that like people don't even think about it. Like that's why we have to be grateful for all the little things that we do have in our life, because just that little thing made you have to probably stay in a lot longer and a little bit more than everybody else, just because you couldn't communicate if you needed to communicate with someone. So I'm sure that took a toll on your mental health. But like you said, you got to feed your mind. It's about your habits. It's about the people you keep around you. For me, COVID definitely had me like up and down with the mental health, because that's right after the divorce. So I'm at home by myself. I'm a people person. I can't go outside. My son, we had to kind of figure that out, how he could come over and stuff of that. But it was just different. But I started working on myself, and that's where I was able to gain clarity on what mental health was and how important it is, and to understand like you have to love yourself first. Like I think a lot of successful people with disabilities, I ain't talking money, I'm just successful in overcoming our disabilities. We had to learn to love ourselves, because if we didn't love ourselves, I don't think other people would love us, because we would want help. We would act like we need, we're this helpless person. But because we love ourselves, I heard you say, people say they love your confidence. The same thing with me. Like sometimes though, I think our friends don't even understand how hard it is. They just like, oh, we love your confidence, but they don't even understand how hard it is on an everyday basis to be their friend, and just be there and go different places and do stuff maybe they want to do that maybe we might not want to do, but we do it because we're their friend. And I think, like you keep saying, we need to have those conversations more, like about how to be around people with disabilities, and maybe ask them, how are you actually doing? How is it having a disability? I have a question for you. It just resonated. Has anybody ever close to you actually sat down and like had a conversation and said, hey, how the hell do you do this? How is it on an everyday basis? Like, has anybody ever asked you, how is it to be someone deaf? Like close, not someone, not, someone afar, not a stranger, but some people close to you.
Okay, that's a really good. That's actually a good question. Yes. When I go on different dates with different guys, like when I go on dates, and a lot of guys always ask me like, how is it like to be that every day?
No, I ain't talking. No, so they're strangers. Those are new people. I'm talking about people that maybe you grew up with, like family members, people that see what you go through, but don't actually know what you go through.
But I think I pretty much said what I would say what I went through.
Yeah, like so I'm talking about like your mom, sister, brother, cousins, people that seen you like grow up, or like that know you personally, but they don't know like what you actually have to endure on an everyday basis. Have they ever asked you, how is it having a disability?
I would say they are aware. My close family members. They're really aware because they're very open and honest with me. They always, since I was a little girl, like they always tell me like, be open, be vulnerable, what you're feeling. Don't be afraid to tell us like what you need. The one thing that they don't know what I go through, the struggle is calling. I
Mm-hmm.
before this hearing aid, my hearing aid, this hearing aid is not it's Bluetooth now, but before this hearing aid, it was not Bluetooth, and I had a hard time making phone calls. Oh my god, I was so frustrated. Sometimes my family would call me, and I'm like, "Don't call me," or they would send me like a voice note, and I'm like, "Don't send me a voice note," because I may not hear everything like for word for word. I prefer texting. So that's something like the struggle that they don't get what I have to go through. Like, hey, don't call me a call. Don't call me. Just text me. So sometimes a phone call is very faster for my family, and they're kind of like not old fashioned, but like they just don't like texting. So I think that's something that they don't know. I think that's just everybody in general. They didn't know that I hate phone calls. I really do.
That's good though that you, like you said, you had open and honest communication. I don't think, like for me, I don't know, I was either doing a podcast on somebody else or they were on mine, and I thought about it. I was like, no one's ever really sat down and asked me, like none of my friends, none of my close family members, like, how is it like going through what you go through? And I think sometimes they treat us as normal and they overlook like our mental health is a little different, or our struggle is a little bit different because we got an extra, disadvantage than everyone else. But yeah, I don't think I've ever told anybody, but I don't I don't mind talking on the phone, but if I don't have headphones or if I'm not where I can put you on speaker, I don't really like being on the phone because holding the phone for a long period of time for me hurts my shoulders. So I think I need to start telling people that, like, hey, it ain't nothing to do with you, but right now I ain't got no hookup to where, and I might be moving around doing stuff, so I don't want to sit there and be holding the phone. I'd rather set it down, put you on speaker if I'm at home or something like that. So I'm gonna start telling people, hey, it ain't nothing against you. I just don't like, I ain't got no headphones. And then, yeah, because I think when we do tell them certain things, they'll understand. Like, I'm sure for you, like, hey, why are y'all calling me? I don't want to talk to you right now. Like, I can't, just text me, just text. And I'm sure you like, yeah, why you ain't answer? Why you ain't call me back? Ain't nothing to do with you. I just can't hear you. It's just that sometimes it's just real simple. It's like, I can't hear. Like, you forget that, huh? So like us talking on the phone, like I might hear 50% of the conversation, and the other 50% might have been the 50% that I needed to hear, and this conversation went nowhere, and now you mad at me, and I'm like, oh well, because you should realize that, so I'm sure that's like, so for instance, for me, so people, treat me normal, and when it comes to like opening things, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. And I went to ask and as a man, that sucks to have to ask a woman to open a jar or open something for me. So I asked one of the other teachers, I'm like, hey, we are at lunch, can you open this? And at first she was like, why you can't open it? And she wasn't really thinking. And then she came, she was like, oh, my bad. I didn't, I wasn't really thinking like you might not really be able to open it. I was like, I can. It's just today my body was feeling weak. So I didn't have the strength in my hands to actually open it. And people, sometimes they don't realize our little disadvantages and they overlooked it because we're treated normal by them. That's why I asked that question. Just to see how it is for other people with disabilities, how the people around them, how close they are and stuff of that. So what do you do now? Did you finish school? What are you doing? What are your dreams and goals after you realize like I can do anything I want to do, and now you have the Bluetooth, now your hearing machine is a lot better. Because think about if you had this situation back in the 80s. Whew, Lord have mercy. They might not have the technology. Now the technology is able to help. So what's going on in your life? What are you doing now?
Okay, I think that was two questions. So what I'm doing now, just remember the second question, whatever the technology. Okay, got it. Okay, so right now what I'm doing, so I did graduated from psychology.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I am one more semester left from a diploma for mental health and addiction, just because um based on what I told everybody and, just my mental health, and I just really do want the deaf community to be heard. And I do want to help them that no matter what you come from in life, where you are in life, it should not stop you from succeeding what you want and achieve your goal. And so now, after I graduated, I decided to become an international speaker. So the first thing I did was hop on podcast. A lot of opportunity came in the way. A lot of people knew someone, which is crazy. I didn't even expect to come this far. And I also too want to and then from there I became a mental health coach for people who have disability, but I'm also opening doors for other people as well. I specialize in anxiety, depression, and self-esteem and confidence. From the age 15 to 35 years old. Not That's my age limit. As well, I do have a book coming out. It's coming out May 28th. It's called Every Day I'm Just Deaf. So my book is mixed with poetry and biography about me being deaf in the hearing community. It's only 95 pages, nothing too long, because I know a lot of people hate reading books. So I do want it to make this book really different, stand out, very unique, and very short. And honestly, to get out of everything, I just really truly want to change the reputation for the disability community and spread a lot more awareness, especially on the Hollywood film industry. I really do want to become a change and help those who want to create movies or shows to show that there should be at least one or two, disability person acting, because it's very important to have to hire someone who actually have a disability, not just actor who try to act has a disability. That's very disrespectful. And I do want to make that changes and as well, also too, my long term goal was always just to change the community in terms of, for example, I wanted to create like an organization for all of us so that everybody can meet each other globally, especially through Zoom. Now technology has been changing, and I love that because it's helped us to connect with more people across the globe who just like us. And it's fascinating how far technology can take you. I really truly didn't think Facebook group, Clubhouse, networking with people get me this far, in terms of being able to present in front of the deaf students I did last week was very fascinating because of the connection, especially all these new platforms that's being created. There's so many ways that we can connect with one another. And it's really amazing how technology really is changing for the better, but also sometimes for the worse. Some people may get bad experience with technology because they feel like they're not up to beat with things, right? So I tell people it takes time to navigate around the technology system.
Definitely, definitely. Kudos to you. At one point I will have the where you got the hand clapping and all that different stuff. You're a college grad. You're working on mental health. You're changing the narrative of people with disabilities, and not just people, just deaf people, but people all over with disabilities, and that's major to be a mental health coach for the disability community because you actually know what it's like. It's more so like sometimes, we have coaches or stuff, and it's like, okay, you kind of understand, but you don't really understand, but you
Yeah,
understand to a certain degree, and that's powerful. That's very helpful. Um, and like you said, like technology is totally different. Like there's people all over the world that think my disability is dope. Like, but then there's people on an everyday basis that could treat you a certain way, or people you see where you live and stuff like that might not think the same, or they might not want to work with you. But then there's people across the world, not even, and I'm just speaking off myself. Like I've talked to people in Nigeria, people. You're in Canada, there's people UK, everywhere, and we're connecting because of the technology. And like you said, I think our community I feel like our community gets pushed back because of the one community with the lot of alphabet in it. Then you have black community and what's going on with that. Then you have white community. You have all these communities. You even have just women. But when it comes to the disability community, I think we get pushed back and we don't get accepted as like everyone else, or we a push for our community like everybody else. Because it's like if you say something about the one community that has the alphabet, it's the end of the world. That could end your career. You could talk about someone with a disability, and people will be like, "Oh, that was wrong. You shouldn't have done that." They can apologize, and it's okay. And it's like, wow, that kind of sucks because another community, you could get canceled, you could lose your job, all that. But you say something, and I wasn't even, we were born this way, or something happened to us. It's not like we woke up and said, "Oh, well, I want to choose the life difficult today." No, hell no, I didn't choose that. I didn't choose that at all. And so I love that you're pushing it for the community. Shout out to you for having a book. I love it. I love it. And I'm gonna have to grab it. I might not. I ain't gonna say. I think I'm gonna be the person that collects books. I'll eventually get to the point that I read books. And no, I'm not. This is no knock to anybody. I'm just not a big reader. I've never been a big reader. I'm more of a person that can watch videos. I can listen to it, something of that sort. But reading, that's not ever been my thing. But I do want to support you having a book. And I think this conversation is a good conversation. Might have another, speak on it again and come back to it because we could be advocates for the community, for our community, because I go to speak at schools, I'm a teacher, I work with kids, so it's like to educate them on how to kind of operate around kids with disabilities, and then you're going into schools and you're doing things. So I think we can figure out how to work together and do something to where we can. I don't know. We'll talk about it offline, but I'm just thinking we could definitely work together and do something, create some type of event, because we do live on both, different sides of the world. So that definitely could be something major. So I don't want. I be feeling like I be talking too much when I have guests, but so mental health. Someone give us 3 tips. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone with a disability. It could be someone that has mental health. Just give us 3 tips on mental health. It could pertain to disability. It might not pertain because it's for anybody.
I would say that it's okay not to be okay. I think that's the one thing that we need to hear a lot of times, because we feel like we need to keep go, and we don't realize that sometimes we have to step back and recharge. Please take care of yourself. And not just someone who have a disability and who does. It doesn't matter what you have and what not. It's really about putting yourself first before anybody else. At the end of the day, I always tell people we need more voice like you, because there's not a lot of you. And it's very important to teach the next generation how to let them get the voice heard no matter what the outcome is. So we do need your voice. Always take care of yourself.
I love it. I love the first you said it's okay not to be okay. And I think it doesn't matter if you have a disability, if you don't. We all go through shit. We all go through life struggles. We all go through, different things. And sometimes it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to get off of social media. It's okay to take a day off. It's okay, to breathe. It's okay to tell you, see if somebody can get your kids and they be going for the weekend. Like, it's okay to not be okay, but you got to make sure that you're getting okay. Like, you can't just be okay with not being okay and just sitting there and just going through that cycle. You got to be like, all right, something wrong. Let me go get some counseling. Let me go get this, whatever the case may be. So I love that one. What is an underdog quote that you can give someone that they can take away with? Something, it could be something you live by, something your favorite quote, or just something that comes to mind.
I would say never take life for granted. You just never know when you go home tomorrow.
That's true. That's true.
That is mine. Just because I know people be like, okay, what does she mean by that? Actually, I actually lost my godfather, who was actually on his way to my house. That's why. So you just never know. Life is too short.
Definitely. You never know. Today's Saturday. So tomorrow is my friend Crystal. She was my co-host on my previous podcast, and she passed away. Tomorrow's her birthday. So it was crazy because how it happened, we had a great meeting Thursday, and she got hit by a car on Monday, and she was gone. And it was like, wow, like, never take life for granted. Or even people that have normal arms or people that have hearing, they take that for granted because they think they're always going to have that. So don't take life for granted. Don't take the little things for granted, because you never know how an accident or something could happen that could trigger your life and change it for the rest of your life. I appreciate you. Like, I definitely love this conversation and being able to talk to someone else that goes through similar things as I do, because you don't get to kind of maybe sometimes have a sit down conversation with that person or people, because maybe you don't see them on an everyday basis. But like we said earlier, with technology, you're able to talk to people all over the world. You're able to get on the Zoom, you're able to talk on the phone, whatever the case may be. And now with technology, you're able to talk on the phone and you can hear and you can get on podcasts and do things. So I applaud you. You're doing great things in the community, great things in the world. And do you have any last words before we get out of here?
No, my last word is remember, tomorrow's not a promise. Keep on going.
Boom. And on that note, peace, one love.